What's up, you guys? This is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Daily Grind, we are back with more Anthem coverage, specifically a very interesting article that I went ahead and found on Reddit called The Big Fat List of Not at Launch Statements, aka Potential Upcoming Features in Anthem. Now, I really like this post mainly because of the fact that the author actually went through and took a look through all of the devs' responses to players asked questions. So he went through their Twitter feeds and was just like, not at launch, possibly coming in the future, this is not going to happen whatsoever, and I really thought it was a nice kind of collective compendium of all of the information that we had out there. Now, what I actually went ahead and did, because it was a very long list and there were many not at launch responses, is I kind of grabbed a bunch of ones that I felt were the most interesting of the bunch and put them in. A lot of them are not necessarily not at launch ones, because, you know, I wanted ones that they had kind of confirmed, but I did put a couple not at launch ones in there because I was like, there's something good to discuss about them. Now, in the background, I'm actually going to be showing off gameplay of the new world boss, the Ash Titan, that we actually went ahead and saw in free play that they launched today on the public demo, just so that you're not looking at a big old wall of text. So enjoy while we go ahead and jump on in. By the way, just a quick heads up, Interceptor, probably not the greatest to be playing against this boss, but you know, we made it work anyway. So straight out of the gate, we're gonna start with kind of like the overall arcing Anthem information. So they asked, how many games in the franchise? Anthem is intended as a live service, maybe just one. Now, this is something that I definitely hope that they stick to. There was a lot of feels bad moments when it came to Destiny 1 and then Destiny 2 being a completely different game where they start you from scratch and you don't get any benefits from the original one. It's actually one of the big reasons why I like Warframe so much, mainly because of the fact that I'm a big, fat, frickin' hoarder. I just want to sit on my pile of mods, on my pile of frames, on my pile of weapons, and I don't want them to ever go anywhere because I put time and effort in getting them, so please don't make them go away. So I'm definitely hoping that they stick to just one Anthem. Moving along, we have cross-platform. They said that is to be determined. Now, this is definitely a big question for a lot of people, mainly because of the fact that Anthem, at least the feeling that I'm getting from them, was primarily designed for console, so I could definitely see some cross-platform play. However, I don't really think that's up to the BioWare developers at all. I think it comes down to the console companies and how well they want to play. I'm looking at you, Sony. You always gotta make things tough, don't ya? Moving along, they do have a question saying roadmap after launch, and that is yes. Now, from what I've heard, a lot of other devs, including Digital Extremes, have kind of put out their roadmaps for this year, so I can't wait to see what Anthem has in store on the upcoming horizon. And from what I'm seeing, there's gonna be a lot of stuff. This next one was weird, but they answered yes to it, but I don't know if it really affects anybody or anybody feels a certain way about it, but new weather after launch. They said yes. Does that make you feel good? Leave that in the comments below. Moving along. New map content after launch, parentheses, regions. They answered yes to this. Now, for those of you guys who have not taken a look at the Anthem like open world map area, we have kind of like two areas right now, and then there are like three more areas up top, one super far north and like another one down. So it already looks like a big like open area map that we'll be able to explore in case you guys are into open world stuff. But they did say that there were potentially new regions that they would introduce us to as well. They also say map expansions including new planets, and they responded to this with, the future is endless and full of possibilities. Now, I know that it's not a word for word response from them, which was what the poster had said, but that's basically what it boils down to. Like, there's, if Anthem goes well and they continue to like prosper and all of that kind of stuff, who knows where they could go. I mean, if you take a look at Warframe's been doing these days, they've just expanded and really gone off in a bunch of different directions for us to play around with, so you never know. They also said more javelins. Actually, these next two ones I'm going to kind of pair together, but there are more javelins after launch, question mark. And they also say the future is endless and full of possibilities, so you never know what they're going to do. But I think the more important question is more abilities for javelins down the road. And to this, they said most likely. Now, for me, at least this is my personal feelings, and we talked about this on the stream a little bit. So be sure to follow me over at twitch.tv/GayGuyPlays if you want to converse about these things. Is that instead of having more javelins, I'd rather have new sets of abilities. A lot of people kind of voice their opinions for wanting a support javelin, but a part of me is almost like, what is stopping BioWare from making any of these javelins a support javelin in their own strange way? Right? What's stopping a standard really tanky Colossus from being like a tanky meta tank, you know, to be able to go ahead and pulse out heals, throw down like walls and barriers and all of that kind of stuff, and really being supportive that way, or using new abilities to create a support javelin, a javelin who maybe has an electrifying bolt that will shock enemies and like bounce off to heal other allies. Right? So if they go ahead and add more abilities in, it's not necessarily that we're gonna need new javelins, because our skill set is not restricted to one specific type. You almost have to think of each javelin as their own archetype, and then beneath that, whatever the abilities that we pair with it kind of become their own subclasses. So hearing that they are going to do more abilities is definitely something that I'm very excited about. They also made mention of swapping ultimates for javelins. They said not at launch, and I think that this might be kind of like a cool tie-in to that as well. Maybe in future DLC, they'll introduce like an interceptor that instead of using blades, maybe uses a big staff or like sniper weapons or something along those lines, just to kind of mix it up. I think that that would definitely be cool and really change up the gameplay. Moving along, we have max pilot level 30 at launch. This is something for those of you guys who may be a little bit newer to Anthem or have never checked out Anthem before, is you have a pilot level. Now, in games like Warframe, they have a mastery rank level, and then everything else has a level as well, right? Well, in Anthem, it's really just pilot level. That's the only thing that really is in need of a level. Everything beyond that kind of goes with you. So whatever javelin you get into, if you're level 20, then the javelin that you're in is going to perform at level 20. Same thing goes for the Colossus and all of that kind of stuff. So it's nice. It's one singular thing that you got to go ahead and level up. Moving along from that, and this one touches my soul. I love this. XP gains after max level having rewards. And they said, yes, plans for this post-launch. This is what I need to see, because I did not sink more time into Warframe than I did with focus schools. Getting all of the focus schools unlocked just felt like such a weight off my shoulders. I felt like so super duper accomplished, and I don't think DE even came up with like a sigil for that or any kind of emblem. They're just like, you know you did good, that's all. And for me, like, when I grinded out all that focus, I was like, yes! And then they did Focus 2.0, and now I've got, like, millions of dead focus that's just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. So it's nice to know that after we hit max rank, there is going to be something for us to look forward to in Anthem. This next one, though, this next one got me questioning y'all real bad. Higher difficulties than Grandmaster 3 in the future? At some point, yes. We haven't even got to play the game yet, from what I heard from some EA Game Changers that, you know, we watched the videos on and all of their stuff. Legitimately, I think it took them like 30 minutes to take down a Grandmaster 1 boss, and it took them quite a long time to actually clear out a Grandmaster 1 stronghold. Yeah! I mean, wait till the game launches before you start asking for more difficulty. I get it. We're probably going to get some really powerful legendary weapons, some epic weapons and all of that kind of stuff that is going to synergize with our kits and let us do insane things. But y'all, let's pause real quick. Let's get our pilots to level 30 before we start asking for things to be even more difficult. Now, that is kind of like the general overarching Anthem questions. Moving along, I have things separated into customization. So the next one is photo mode, and they said we'll see. Listen, BioWare, don't will see me, trust me. With all of the fashion forging that we can do in the game, we gotta have like a really sick photo mode, especially with the movement and the abilities. I'd like to be able to take some really cool screenshots, and it's a great way to kind of like share with people over social media and be like, hey look, it's so dope. So definitely. Now this next one, these next three actually, are kind of all grouped in the same for me, as at least mentally. Now in Warframe we have something called energy color. Energy color dictates the energy lights on your Warframe, any of your bullet jumping, and it also dictates like the flash on your weapons and also like your energy effects, right? Well, they asked these next three questions, which is customize thruster color, customize javelin lights, customizing elemental color, e.g. blue fire, red ice, so on and so forth. Now, they pretty much to all of these questions, they said no, but we like this idea for later. So I'm hoping that they go ahead and introduce that with their really, really deep customization that they already have on their javelins. I hope that this is something that they're going to introduce, because energy color, especially when it comes down to like the eyes of your interceptor and like the shocking electricity bolts that come off of the side of your storm, all of that, like that's so integral to like the customization of your frame. So I hope that they allow us to do that in the future. I don't even hope, it just needs to be done. Moving along, they have applying vinyl to a specific part of the javelin. Now, in Warframe, we have these things called sigils, which sit on the chest, and you can kind of make them bigger, you can make them smaller, you can slide them up, you can slide them down, left and right. They don't ever become super duper small, which is something that I would love to see for javelins, because right now all we have are vinyls, and vinyls go on top of the entire javelin, and they're all ugly. I'm letting you know right now, BioWare, your vinyls are ugly. I ain't paying no money for that. If you want me to pay for something, make something that looks cute that we can customize, because right now those vinyls just look tacky. So, or if you would be able to kind of like make them smaller and maybe just put them on your like right boob, because you know, they're never the same. Doesn't matter how many push-ups you do, there's always one that's a little more plump than the other, so you give the other one a little bit of love with the vinyl. Just give a little illusion of thickery right there on the chest. I would definitely love to see that, but they said no, not right now for it. They said changing the appearance of weapons, not at launch. Y'all, you can't have us running around with sick-ass looking javelins and mismatching weapons. That's just an affront to the customization set that you guys have created. Really, you need to get on this and make this a thing ASAP, because we can't be having mismatching looking bullshittery like laying around on our armor, because even in Warframe you can turn off weapons being holstered. In Anthem you can't do that right now. So the eyesores are going to be there no matter what. Next up we have color gradients. Now this one was a very, very interesting one. I don't know how you would do color gradients in the game. They said maybe, and I'm like, y'all gotta figure that out, because even in Warframe I think of things like, let's implement color gradients into Warframe, and I'm thinking in my head, I was like, how would we actually do that, and what would the selector be like for it? But you know what, they did do the color slider thing, so I can't fault them. Well, maybe we'll see. Now the last one is skins adding different visual effects and sound effects. Not at launch, but I really want to add this. So here's one thing that I want to kind of like, I guess I would say point out, or I would like to encourage. So in Anthem, we have some things called components. So you guys got to think about it this way. It's almost like modding in Warframe. You're able to slot in different components that have different effects on your javelin. Now, things like the storm has an ice component. If we have an ice component equipped on our javelin, like the little ice things on the sleeve of the storm should be pulsing with ice energy. That would be so dope. Or if there's an electric one, it should be pulsing with electric energy. That would be really, really sick. Or the interceptor actually has a blade ones, right? So why not, if we have the blade components in, give us really sick looking blades. Right now our blades look kind of stupid. Just putting it out there into the universe. We got these little dinky blades that come out on each side, but wouldn't it be sick if we had the blade component and the blades either were bigger or had crazy energy effects to them? That would be super, super cool. So I hope to see something like that at some point in the future. Now, moving along, closing out customization, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at what I like to call kind of like quality of life, miscellaneous gameplay kind of stuff. So let's take a look at this, which is waypoints in free play. They said not at launch. And this one kind of goes together with text chat post-launch. And they say the future is vast and full of many possibilities. So hopefully we're going to be seeing that. Number one, we need waypoints and chat. We need at least one of those ASAP. Now, we were fighting the Titans this weekend, and it's a free play mission. So, of course, the map is really big, and players could be on the complete opposite end of the map, and a Titan could spawn, right? So you need to be able to like attract the attention of the rest of your allies, whether it's through text chat or whether it's being able to put down a waypoint that you're like, hey, yo, you might want to come over here because we're fighting a Titan right now. You know, so I think it's very, very important. Now, I know the game is primarily, at least from my understanding, developed for console, right? So I get it on console, there's a lot of voice chat. I'm not doing that. I don't want to talk to anyone that I don't need to talk to. So just a quick line in text, Titans here, move on with your day. I don't actually have to vocally speak with anyone. So please make that a thing. It is so very, very important. Moving along, we have bows like Robin Hood style. They said not at launch of this, but come on. We need some bows in Anthem. There are some really, really amazing environments that just make you feel like you're in like the jungles or in the forest, and there's nothing cooler than being able to pull out a bow. The only thing that I would say is make bows balance and make them feel like they matter within the combat. I like what Destiny 2 did with it, where they had bows and a lot of them had the customization for explosive arrowheads. So you'd fire down a bow and then it would have this AoE that would go ahead and take out like a small group of enemies or like weaken them at the very, very least. Or give them an interesting effect, kind of like, again, in Anthem, if they're, or in Destiny 2, if they're a really, really big boss, to be able to penetrate that boss and hit them multiple times on the way out. It's very similar to, like, piercing ammo in Monster Hunter World, things like that. So if you're gonna do bows right, number one, but still do bows. Moving along from that, we have any crazy sci-fi alien weapons, again, not at launch. Now, the one thing that does kind of hurt my soul with all of this is, again, I think I covered it yesterday in the video. They said that they really want your abilities to be the main part of gameplay, that each of the javelins should be using those more than they should be using their guns. But that doesn't mean you can't put a couple cool guns in the game, please. I would like that, like a laser gun, like a laser pistol, maybe like a beam weapon or something. That would be really, really dope. So hopefully they change their minds. Well, they didn't say no, but hopefully we see some of those in the game. Now this one's a very interesting one. I'm not exactly sure how they would implement this, but changing builds on the go in a mission. They said not at launch, but we're keeping an eye on this. Now, this is definitely one of those things that I personally need because I'm a fucking idiot. Sometimes I just bring the wrong loadout completely. Like I was saying on my Interceptor, I think my general loadout has been Ice Glaive and that really, really strong melee ability. I forget what it's called, but it's the one you can use that's on a pretty low cooldown. But that one. And then I found myself fighting the Titan, and I was like, I can't really do anything. So I actually went back and, you know, next time we loaded in, I like had Wraith Strike ready for to get some distance out on him and all of that kind of stuff. But legitimately, it would have been very, very handy to be able to swap things while I was actually mid-mission, because you never know what you're gonna run into. So after that, we have anywhere we can see total values of stats. They said no, but we'd like to do this. And that's very, very promising, because there's one thing that I love is when devs are transparent, where they give you all of the information straight out the gate, and you don't necessarily need somebody to tell you, oh, that's a good weapon, because the numbers are there and you're like, I see some potential, let me go ahead and play with this. Plus, it's nice to have for all of the trolls on the internet saying, your loadout is trash. And I can be like, well, actually, let me go ahead and do the DPS calculations for you and show you why this build is superior. That's what I really, really like. But moving along from that, they had re-rolling stats on gear. They said maybe after launch. Now, re-rolling stats on gear, this one I found really interesting, because if you guys are not aware, or maybe a little bit newer to Anthem, each individual weapon has, you know, the base standard stats. So if you have that weapon, no matter what variation of that weapon within the same tier, you're going to be performing the same, right? So a rare defender is going to perform like any other rare defender. But they do have randomized stats on there, like bonus damage, bonus shields, bonus health drop rate, all of that kind of stuff. So what I'm assuming this person means is that you'll be able to reroll singular stats on the gears, because if you want to reroll the stats completely, you can just use a blueprint and recreate that weapon and you'll get a new batch of stats. So hopefully we see that. They did say maybe after launch, who knows. This next one I actually added in because I just wanted to ask you guys, I don't really know what this means. Drop protection for RNG. They said no, but we'll keep an eye on it. So I have a feeling it's something along the lines of not to get the same drops over and over and over again. Maybe? I don't know what drop protection means for RNG, but let me know down in the comments if you guys do know what that term means. I don't want to look it up. I have a dog to walk. But one thing that I do wish that they would implement is if you are using a specific javelin, that you'll get drops, that you'll get a slightly higher percentage of drops catered for that javelin. Because there's a lot of times that I'm playing my Colossus and I'm like, oh my god, I wish, you know, I had, like, I still don't have a rare spark coil on my Colossus, and I've been playing my Colossus a lot. So part of me is like, ooh, let me just get that spark coil, a rare one, and then I could call all of my things blue all over. But unfortunately, all of the drops that come out are for like every class. So if you're a Colossus, you can get an Interceptor drop. You can get a Storm drop. You can get a Ranger drop. It doesn't really matter what you're playing. Now, I wish if they had just weighted it to be a little bit more strongly for that specific Javelin, that would be absolutely amazing. I really like that, but it still does help out. Like, when I was playing my Interceptor a ton, when I went over to my Colossus, I had drops for him, so that was definitely nice. Moving on, this one I absolutely need, which is locking items so we don't accidentally delete. Like I said earlier, I'm a fucking idiot. They said no, but it's a good idea. So hopefully we will see that in game because I make a lot of boo-boos. So please go ahead and add that in. The next one is a companion app. They said not at launch. Now, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but do you guys tend to use companion apps for your video games? Because I know that Warframe has one, but I really found no point in using it. I think that one of the Fallouts did it, and that was really interesting and weird. I know that Destiny has one. I, again, personally don't use it, so let me know how you feel down below and what features you would like to see in that app. Next up, they said UI indication of carry important items, e.g. quest items. They said no, but this is a good quality of life addition. Now, for me personally, I think that there's like a UI up in the top that'll kind of tell you if you're carrying something of importance or, you know, how many have been collected. Maybe a little bit more communication would be better sometimes, but I personally feel like they've done a good job of it. But hey, if they're willing to go the extra mile, why not? Next up, they have Teammate Ultimate Indicator. That's a good post-launch idea. I don't really know how helpful this would be. Maybe for the combo system, it would be really, really well, but I know that I've seen this in Smite before, so you'll be able to see like all of the combos for your allies. I don't pay as much attention to it as I should possibly, and it might open up some combos in that aspect. But if I'm going to be completely honest with you, it's not something that I'm super like raring for. But you know what? If you guys could see the potential in it, especially with the combo system, then definitely they should check it out. And last but not least, I wanted to add this one in because I want to know your opinion on it, because I don't really have much of an opinion. Gifting, trading, or loot exchanges, and they said not at launch for this one. Now, I don't know, personally for me, when it comes to like random drop kind of games, I always feel like it almost extends the life of the game by not having trading, because, you know, there's such a way where you just go and do the mission until you get the drop that you want. But I could see it for some people who are frustrated because they're not getting the drop, to be able to trade something else with someone, maybe not allowing them to trade like in-game currency for it, but maybe trading another item for it or something. I don't know. Leave all of your feelings down below on that, as well as any of the other things that I'd mentioned here. In fact, if there's anything that sticks out to you, like, you know, maybe thruster color, maybe changing weapon colors, and maybe a bow, I don't know. If those mean a lot to you, toss that down in the comments below, as well as any of your other feelings. But that about does it for me for now. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch yo Grandmaster 3 hard mode. And don't go too hot, yo, don't go chasing waterfalls. I'm just saying, there is a lot to get your ass whooped by. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.